and welcome to David's Reflexology channel. By the magic of the internet, we're going to be doing an interview with Spiros Dimitrakoulas. He's in Athens and I'm in, well, not quite so sunny Derbyshire. We're going to be having a chat about all things reflexology, and I hope you really enjoy getting to meet Spiros and hearing from him.
Right.
Kalimera, Spiros, how are you?
David, your Greek is getting better and better. All right. Greeks are noticing, fellow colleagues, and these are extra points.
I had a good teacher. Somebody that I know very well in Greece taught me how to say good morning.
Kalimera. Kalimera to everyone. All right.
Indeed, indeed. Spiros, it's so good to see you again. It really is. It seems that we've probably actually had longer apart because of this virus and it's stopping us from traveling than we've ever been before. It's just horrible.
Obviously. Yeah. And it's going to stay, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
People might in Athens, it was already difficult to have people from Thessaloniki come in or from Crete. These are areas at a distance, the subcapital, Crete, and it's not that easy for people. They'll be thinking if they're going to travel or not. Greeks here, you know, we're like as a family, man, and others like your strategy is: will you go to a Greek island? Do you want to travel by plane, by boat, maybe drive, go by car this year? And then in the north, we have some COVID cases arising and people might avoid the north. And they might come down to Peloponnese, the southern mainland of Greece. So, you know, things, this is how it affects even vacations and traveling and courses and education and CPD and all that.
And that's interesting because we hear in the UK that Greece, from what we see on the news, it's almost like there are no cases anymore in Greece because the people are being told you can go on holiday. It's quite interesting. Our government, who have been mixed messages, let's just say, in the handling of this COVID, they were saying, yes, you can go on holiday and you can go on holiday to Greece. But then interestingly, the Greek minister for tourism was saying, let's just wait a minute. No, you can't. We're not sure that we want to admit British people over to Greece. So it seems to us where we are that you're ahead of us. Is that the case? Are things calming down or?
The way I understand it, you know, because when expressing opinions, we've all become epidemiologists, virologists and PPE specialists, and I don't know what else the fuck we've become. You know, it's so crazy at this time. And so, yeah, it's interesting, but in here, so different countries are ahead or behind.
Spiros, you broke up just then. Just say that again. Say that again, if you would, please.
What I've been noticing is that around the world, different countries, depending on what the experts understand as statistics, are opening up in phases. So other countries get in earlier, others later on. And Greece, yes, obviously is one of them. We've been accepting tourists coming in also. There's movement, so this is a major step forward on one hand, that the country gives trust and the numbers here are good, and maybe the climate, something like, I would like to speak about the warm weather. Because, you know, we've been from the 18th of May, you were allowed to travel between provinces, let's say. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but you understand.
Yeah, provinces, yeah.
You were confined in one, and on the 18th, you could start traveling. But you could, I could not go back to work. And there were like 5 different codes for CAM therapists and reflexologists. I had one of the 5. So some people began working in May on the 18th, some the next week. And just because my code, though we do the same job, it's described differently in the Ministry of Economics, the code I have describing my occupation. So due to this, I opened on the first, personally teaching and working on the 1st of June. So you could see the breaking down. Other colleagues were going to work. I had to be patient. this brought in personal frustration. Uncertainty was, everybody was moving, more young, doing things, trying
Yep.
to get on track. So this, and my family could feel it, it was because people were calling for treatments, I had to decline and so on. But there was also the point didn't feel safe going back, David. Like they
Right.
said, okay, you just go to work, you're allowed. And then I was thinking, yeah, but how? Like, should I travel on the bus? Because I drive by bus to Athens. I use the bus.
Uh-huh.
And I would use the bus twice or three times a week sometimes. And now I've brought it down to one because statistically I've read, and my own logic, because I'm an epidemiologist like you now.
We've
I
all
think
become experts in our own fields, haven't
yes,
we?
we are. No more reflexology. Epidemiology is like the new thing. And so I come over, I sleep over in Athens, see clients 2 days in a row, get it over, go back home.
Right.
So,
What sort of PPE? Because again, before we started recording, you were saying, and we're PPE experts. What
yeah.
is needed in Greece? So what do you have to do?
I've been following, you can follow what's going on in the UK, because over there, people, things are regulated and to the best, and they're doing a great job, all the associations.
It's actually, no, it's not regulated here. We've got voluntary regulation, but we don't have.
Which means for people from around the world that if I move to the UK, I don't have level 3, level 5, but I can work if I
Yes,
want in the UK. It's not stopping me from
correct.
working. So this is mean voluntary regulation with good intent to uplift standards. And
Absolutely. Yes, yes, indeed. Statutory regulation, that would be by law, so to speak. But
that's what it means.
yes,
It must be
Spiros.
so real. Yeah, because something's going on in Scotland at the moment. Yeah.
Huh?
In Scotland, with some sports massage therapists, they were allowed to work, then they took it back, and the Physio Association supposedly has something to do. Have you heard of this?
No, that's interesting. Go on, tell us.
David, I will tell you from Athens.
Go on, go on.
To my understanding, since I follow this association, UK Physical Therapists
Mm-hmm.
Association. And there's a woman there behind a major part of the work called Brittany Spence, and she lives here in Athens. And, I've been following updates from her also. I look at the AOR, at PR, South Africa, all the associations around the world, Argentina, try to understand as much as possible how each country is going about it. But it seems that in the UK, England is different than Scotland or Wales and so
Yes,
on.
it is.
Every
Yes,
territory. So you have to, get advice from your local agencies. Let me say it as I understand it.
yes.
So something happened in Scotland. In the beginning, they were allowed to work. Then this doctor wrote a letter described as dear therapist, and now it's hands off for them. But something's going on behind the scenes. It seems there's a conflict of interest in some way, because
Oh,
certain professions are allowed to work and others are not. And sports massage in this case was one. I don't know about reflexology specifically, but this is what went on in Greece. Like I said, on the 18th of May, some were allowed to go back to work, others had to wait. And therapists were getting desperate. This is what I felt all around the world, that therapists, it's hard to have money on the side for
yes.
your average therapist. All right, we're talking about the average therapist and all that, and people like groups from the States regarding massage therapy. They're well organized over there, again, also with associations and so on. So they made groups specifically for the COVID period now. And it was interesting that some people were uh, confessing that I'm going to go work. I need the money.
Ah, yes.
So they were in a tight corner. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And though they thought it was dangerous or they were concerned or whatever, they had to go to work to make it. This saddened me a lot. I knew that the finances behind your average therapist and reflexologist, they don't, we won't become rich. It's
No,
not.
we don't get into reflexology to become millionaires now, do
No,
we? That's not going to happen.
bad idea. Not going to happen. Well, there is, but a very minor percentage, and it has to be. But it's not a profession that will make you rich. And this is what I felt around the world, and it saddened me a bit. The frustration, family, people having to make it through wanting, they love their job, their therapist.
That's the difference, isn't it? What we do, we are rich in quality of life and in the enjoyment that we have by enabling healing for our clients and all the rest of it. But rich as far as, money is concerned, that's different. Now no, you're back. I suddenly thought you froze just then.
I'm very sorry. Somebody was calling and I had to, close the phone.
Ah, fair enough. So what PPE do you have to wear when or is it actually by law what you have to wear?
No,
or?
not by law, no description. Associations here, time to be honest. I'm all over associations. Like it gives me, to observe their work, be inspired like in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, like when I see something wrong, I just open my trap, my mouth, and, just
Why break
point
the
it
habit
out.
of a lifetime?
Sorry?
Why break the habit of a lifetime?
One reason I resigned, I held the position of chair in Reflexology in Europe Network.
Yes, you did.
And yeah, and in Greece, I was chair of our associate. Oops, sorry about that. David, I dropped you. I'm very sorry. It was the wind. One of the reasons I resigned
Yeah.
was because I wanted the space and the freedom to move and speak openly,
Mm-hmm.
not biased, so
Mm-hmm.
to say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in these positions, these responsible positions, it's it's not that easy, but still there are responsible positions and responsibilities come with them. Now, unfortunately, here in Greece, the associations were not like the massage. The massage sector does not have an association. Well, they do, yes, and they just began inside COVID a little action, but no way did anyone communicate with the government. Like I've seen letters being sent by associations. I wonder if the PM or ministers receive them and who actually reads them. And I hope they have effect or not.
Yeah.
Because, it's politics, David. It's all about numbers.
Oh, it is. It is. And I must admit, I have to say the AOR, which is the association I'm a member of,
Mm-hmm.
have been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, because we all started writing letters to our local members of parliament,
Mm-hmm.
and some people just got generic replies. Then, the reply that I got, have you ever heard of a game called Candy Crush?
Yep, my daughters play it.
Yep. My local MP got caught playing Candy Crush while sitting in Parliament. There was a speech going on. He was bored, so he was just playing Candy Crush.
Happens, everyone.
He got caught on TV doing it. Anyway, my MP actually wrote back what I thought was a proper reply, because you've dropped me again, haven't you? He wrote back a proper
It's a bit
reply.
windy now. Have to find you a better position.
Bless you. I'm thinking, brilliant. But then someone else got exactly the same reply. Someone else got exactly the same. And it was basically just a standard reply. And all they'd done is just put reflexology in instead of whatever else industry it was. So the AOR then wrote to the Prime Minister. They wrote a stinking letter. It was brilliant.
The one that they said it's a women's industry run by women.
That's it. Yeah. And then also, there's a lady member of parliament who actually has started standing up and saying,
I've been following this. Yes, yeah, I've been following.
All the recovery has been, for men, because, you can apparently even get your beard trimmed, but you can't get your, a facial done.
Why is this happening? We as
Exactly.
specialists, yeah, now we are market specialists. Are you
Yeah.
ready? Why is this
Yeah,
happening?
yeah, absolutely.
And
We're market
lobbying
specialists.
specialists.
Yeah.
And lobbying specialists. Why do you think this is happening?
Um, First of all, Boris, I thought was going to be great because he
It
actually
happened all
caught the
around the
virus.
world. It happened in all countries. So it's not only about Boris.
Oh, no, 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 absolutely. But the difference is Boris caught it. And I was thinking, great, he's got first-hand experience of it. He knows actually how serious this is. And he says, I'm going to follow the science. And to a point, he did, until money started having an effect. And it was a case of trying to get as many people back to work as quickly as you could so that they then don't have to.
Safely.
Yeah.
I'm sure they want the best intentions. There's pressure everywhere.
Oh, indeed.
And it's a matter of everyone being safe.
Exactly.
Clients, you were asking about PPE. People
Yeah.
walk in with no PPE.
Right.
They see you, like I wear my mask and the gels and the spraying down. They have specific area where they can leave their keys, marked areas.
Mm-hmm.
They don't touch anything else. They don't touch the door handles because it's open door, ventilation, things like this.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's convenient for me. I'm not in an apartment building. It's more like a ground level front store, my office.
Mm.
So for the moment, this is convenient. Yeah. But outside, like in the supermarket, there might be 20 people, 3, 4 might be wearing masks. When you go for coffee, the personnel might not be wearing anything at all now.
Wow.
See where we are? You said, wow, for something that was in December, January, February was, yeah, of course. But see how our life changed.
Yeah.
And for you, I understand. But look, also we have like 50 cases a day at the moment, which is not considered big compared to other numbers, but it is. Greeks are alert, and I just hope things stay safe,
Indeed.
And yes, because everyone is relaxed and all that, and it's too early for this, and we're accepting tourists and all that, and I don't know. I just hope the sun or something divine and works until they find whatever is needed to be found.
I will totally agree with that. Totally
Yeah.
agree with that. So,
So I wanted to say, our associations here in Greece, no transaction with a politician. It didn't come to my attention that someone
wow.
did. I admit that I am vice president of an association here in Greece,
Mm-hmm.
which is newly founded.
Ah.
And like this whole thing caught us, like we haven't even had established, of course there's Zoom and all that, but in person, I and the other members of the board don't even know each other. They represent different fields. So I'm not pointing fingers. I'm pointing at myself also.
Yes.
Right? I want to make this open. I am disappointed from associations from the beginning of this. Like if you want to see what really went on, you have to go back to when all this began in March. Look at the associations. Did they take it upon them to give guidance to members? I understand that reasons they didn't was like shut down, do this, do that, is because who's going to take the responsibility? Even when the government tells you to shut down, he reimburse you in a way, support you. And when he tells you, okay, do whatever the fuck you want, it's your problem from now on. All right, if you get sick, you pay it. If you close your shop, you pay it. Isn't that what they're doing now? And it's comparing the remedy if it's worse than the disease itself. We're in a strange situation, it seems.
We are.
So for associations around the world, most of them, I think, were silent, just waiting for the government to announce. Everybody has issues interpreting guidelines because they're not specific to our profession. One reason is though we do, like take UK, for example, has a huge amount of volunteer work.
Mm.
And this work, like Tracy Smith of the AOR once told me when we were at the RIA and Reflexology in Europe network, she said, I recommended documenting where there are volunteer or paid reflexologists in hospital settings in Europe, but to know exactly in every country, every facility. And Tracy just honestly said, we don't know what all our members are doing. There's so much going on in
Mm.
this area. So though the reflexologists and many other CAM therapists offer to the community, to the government, the political system of the country, now when it's difficult to use them or supposedly and things like that. So it's because we're not a major player compared to beauticians or barbers. It's about influence and money. But what the AOR wrote, Tracy Smith, I think, signs the letter. Am I correct? Or no, it wasn't Tracy. It was the chair of
It was
the
Carrie.
AOR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but what she noted, that's a woman industry run by women, and this statistically has been found years ago in the United States when they did a profile of the reflexologist, and it described female vast majority, and you know this from experience, I'm sure, from the
We
training
are
you
a
offer.
minority, aren't we, Spiros? I mean,
Yeah, we two guys are talking about a woman industry. We
yeah.
came together
What
today.
do we know?
The nerve we have. So where were we? And Canada, RAC did recently another, created the profile in a recent issue last year, again, women. And I just want to add, when I was chair of RIAN, we had someone liaison in Brussels as a part of a CAM group. It was called FCAM. And off the record, over a conversation he said to me, comparing we were talking about reflexology, of course, and the
Yeah.
other modalities, making reference to them. And he said, a difference in reflexology is that the other methods get more rap than reflexology. Do you understand? More of a beating across Europe than
Right.
reflexology. And I said, why? Because he says reflexology goes under the radar. I say, what? Because no politician wants to fuck around with 50-year-old women voters. Because he was speaking, I found it interesting because I had not revealed any knowledge, if I had, of the profile of today's reflexologist.
Yeah.
Of course, this might differ in Asia and so on. There are parts of the world we have no idea about.
Yes.
But in the West, it's definitely women. The age group he described fits in. I would go 10 years lower, a little higher. And this is, I would say, so it's interesting if you could unite all these women voters now, it changes the whole, debate and bargaining and so on and so on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just some, thoughts from Athens, since we are specialists on this topic.
I do not profess to be a specialist on this, but I'll tell you what, it's great hearing your thoughts about how we have been handling our profession during this crisis.
Things have been revealed, and if normal ever gets back, members are more aware now.
Yep.
Members.
Yep.
I was surprised that members, I was watching a video of an association, and members were commenting, I just became a member of you. They were watching the video. It was about 2 hours. And during the presentation from that person, people were going online and changing associations.
Oh, really?
Yep, they're starting. Members are wise. They see differences. And I'm expecting a whole new, some changes.
And that's interesting because, of course, if an associate, we've got, numerous associations in the UK. And of course, if there is an association that's being seen to be doing more for its members, well, people are wise, they will change.
It's value for money.
Yes.
We can debate, it's good to be a collective, to work together, blah, blah, blah. But it's value for money. And since, like in the UK, there are many associations or organizations that can pursue this, you can choose whichever you want, obviously.
Yeah.
And now members, we will see what members really want.
Yes.
What are they looking out for?
Yes, and of course we're not just talking UK, because this channel gets seen all over the world. You know,
Yes,
any
definitely.
association anywhere in the world, if they're seen to be proactive, they're seen to be supporting their members, well, of course people will join them.
Around the world, Malaysia, Thailand, I've been following the news from my page, Reflexology World News. I have a thing for years now, over 15 years, following what's going on around the
Yeah.
world. And I see like there are countries that have many blind massage and reflexologists.
Yeah.
All right, it's a trade they learned, an art, in order to practice. And there's a mate, like the blind have to have someone to help them disinfect.
Right.
The guidelines are you have to have this, but Malaysian governments were on them. They acknowledge that they exist, but it's a big thing.
Yes.
Like the money, I'm sorry to say, in terms of money, when reflexology alleviates, pacifies pain, and can be pleasant, can be whatever it can be. There's so many ways to describe it. So I'm sorry to speak about money, but it comes down to a
It's a
material world.
necessary evil.
And I see how it consumes part of the market in China and other Asian countries. But still, even there were therapists. Yeah, let us go back to work. Everywhere the same story.
Mm, mm,
Patients, let's all be safe. We
yes.
come really close to people, and they don't feel comfortable wearing that mask. They come to us for space. What do we give, David? Like we are colleagues, and just imagine it's like a relationship, my children or my wife or a lover. You allow them into space. You give David, you give space, and in a
Something actually, I want to just steer you back to something that you mentioned, because you
what?
do run this Facebook page
Hmm.
of information that happens all around the world, and you really keep your finger on the pulse. So tell us a little bit about this. What's the Facebook page called? This is for people that don't know what you do.
Reflexology World News came about because I have a blog, Greek Reflexologist, where I would, just post news from around the world.
Mhm.
And so there was nothing similar on Facebook. So I wanted, to get into this and just inform people, give them information. I'm so glad they find it useful. They share it on their pages, either ideas, research articles, volunteer work, interesting stuff from around the world. Sometimes I find that they train prisoner reflexology or yeah, just interesting anything reflexology related.
Brilliant.
It's up associations, announcements, and conferences and so on.
Okay. What I think I'm going to do on the YouTube channel, I'm going to put your
Yeah,
Reflexology World News address on, and then if people want to then join in and see what you've
sure.
got to say, because I think that
Yes,
would be really, really useful. Really do.
keeps you up to date. I'm so happy. What's funny is the, the most amusing thing about COVID era
Yes.
is when all these cam therapists would say, look, they would go, can you hear me? Am I live?
Yeah.
Can you press it, write something if you can hear me?
Yeah.
I think I'll just continue.
Rather than trusting it and going for it.
It's for people specializing on the human body, the material, on energy, on chakras, on meridians, on zones, on reflexes. They navigate in this field easy. When it comes to technology, we were all,
We're rubbish.
yeah, put it politely.
It is. Instead of, if you've got somebody they're working on the feet, is that pressure okay? It's now, like you say, can you hear me? Is it working?
Correct.
Oh, brilliant. I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to break this interview into two halves, because we've been chatting so much about COVID, and we're going to do a part two for
The other stuff.
for the other stuff. Yeah.
Go for it.
So I really hope you enjoyed that interview. The interview went on so long, in fact, that we've decided to cut it in half. So this first half we were talking about COVID and the return to work. We're going to be popping another interview on that in fact we sort of did just now, but we're going to reserve that for next week, which is where Spiros talks about how he got into reflexology and also about orthopedic reflexology, and also he touches on research as well and his opinions and thoughts about that. So I really hope you enjoyed today's chat. If you did, do please like and subscribe to our channel, and look forward to seeing you next week with part 2 of Spiros's interview.